Hey everybody, good evening. Welcome to another edition of now Rob's Little Blue Book. And I do not have my camera where I want it. Let's fix that. There we go. Hope everybody's having a great week. I know I am. And tonight we're doing chicken chow mein, and I'm going to use this opportunity to show you a couple things. We're going to do homemade noodles. Although I've already started because we got a humidifier. No, a dehumidifier. And it's totally messed with my noodle recipe. It used to be really humid in here, like 80%, and now it's like 45, and I really hope these noodles work because everything is different. In any case, we'll go over the ingredients in a second. Hey, Rebecca. We are going to do, the cocktail for tonight is going to be the Palmetto, and this came to me from my Aunt Liz over Thanksgiving. We were talking about the stream and cocktails and stuff like that, and she mentioned she had read an article and that she would send it to me. So I'm like, great, cool, I'd like to read that. And after checking my email for a couple days, and I looked at my spam folder, and I didn't really see it. I was like, oh, maybe she forgot. But then I checked the actual real mail. Turns out it's still a thing. And I got the article, hard copy, and a lovely note from Liz. So in her honor, and this is also one of my favorite cocktails, we're going to do the Palmetto tonight, which is, I mean, it's basically a rum Manhattan, but it's more than that. It's a cocktail in its own right, and it's called the Palmetto, which I think is a tree in Cuba. A nut tree? It doesn't matter. Anyway, it's a cocktail in its own right. We're going to make one. I think they're delicious. And for this cocktail, you want to have a good rum for this. This is not a cocktail that you want to be using Kraken with or something. And I forgot my jigger somewhere. There we go. So yeah, if you're going to make this, you're going to go to the trouble to make this, go get a good quality rum. This is El Dorado, which I haven't tried the 12-year before. I've tried the 7-year. 7 years excellent, so I'm assuming the 12-year will be great. This is, I never miss an excuse to splurge on something for the stream, so I'm kind of looking forward to this. This is like, I get to do an unboxing, or whatever the hell they call it. Alright. Oh, it smells so good. Alright, well, it smells like rum, but... So it's... your choice measure. I always like 2 ounces for a cocktail. 1.5 ounces just doesn't make a nice cocktail. In terms of sweet vermouth, this is to taste. And is there a difference between a jigger and a shot glass? No, not exactly. Some shot glasses are only 1 ounce, which is weird. There probably is the definition of a jigger somewhere. So I don't really know, to be honest. I do know that, actually I think a jigger is this. I think a jigger is like 2 ounces, like one of these things. Shot glasses aren't that great because the biggest one I've ever seen is still only 1.5 ounces. And I don't know what you do with 1.5 ounces, but you can't make a cocktail with it. Okay, so, oh yes, and orange bitters for this one. So as I said, unlike a martini, which is another spirit vermouth drink, which I drink very dry. So if I was doing a martini for myself, I really just use a splash of dry vermouth. If I'm doing a dirty martini, in fact, I usually keep my olives soaking in dry vermouth, and I'll just take the olive out of the vermouth, and whatever sticks to the olive is what I use in my drink. However, Manhattans are a little different. It's sweet vermouth, which is a different flavor. And this one I used, for 2 ounces, I used about a little bit less than 3/4 of an ounce. And that's just to taste. You can go more, you can go less. I mean, it's your cocktail. Just start with 2 ounces of rum, you can't go wrong. Okay. Into the glass. This is our... so normally you would pour this probably in a coupe, which I don't have any. I actually think it's kind of a dumb glass design. They're really easy to spill. However, if you're going to be all fancy to party, use a coupe. But in the meantime, I have my nice Dorothy Thorpe glasses, which I quite like. That's that. I would normally garnish this with a... I mean, the traditional garnish is what I'm going to do here. Just a bit of orange peel. I really like all my Manhattan style drinks or old fashions or all of them really to have a maraschino cherry because I make my own and I think they're really good, but I'm out. So we're gonna just have a regular old orange twist here. You can twist these up around like a skewer or a chopstick, or you can just like do it like this. But you do want to express some of the oils out, and then you just drop it in there. So cheers. This is the Palmetto. I haven't had one in, God, I don't know how long. Oh, wow. That is really good. The rum makes, the quality rum makes, hey, Paul, how you doing? The quality rum makes a huge difference. I'm really happy with that. It's definitely a strong cocktail, though. I'm going to go slow on this one. Okay, so things I want to cover tonight are, we're going to do, so chow mein is a technique. And since we always teach techniques here, not recipes, we're going to do that. This is something you can throw together on a weeknight meal. Mein is literally just noodles. I don't know what chow is in Chinese, Mandarin, or Cantonese. I don't even know what it is. But it doesn't matter. This is a noodle dish. You can put anything you want in it. There are traditional elements to it, like we have cabbage here. Let me switch to the ingredients camp. So we're going to use cabbage and carrots. Cabbage is definitely traditional. Bean sprouts are in every stir-fry dish as far as I can tell. And I got some scallions here. I've separated the, you can see here, these are 3 scallions cut up. And I've separated them into the whites and the green parts because they will go in at different times because they cook at different rates. And that's kind of it. I'm going to show you guys how to make my Blue Book stir-fry sauce. This is the base for all my stir-fry sauces. I almost always have a jar of this in the fridge. It keeps forever. It keeps forever, and you can keep it in your fridge, and anytime you want to throw a meal together or do any kind of stir-fry, you can use this sauce as a base, and it always tastes amazing. But first, let's go back to the noodles. So I really wanted to show you guys the whole noodle process. I'm glad I didn't because today it's just taking forever with the humidity change. But we will do a little bit of it. So, oh, and I also thought of something else here. This is going to be my new, because you want to have a recipe for noodles. So I'm going to hold this up. I hope you guys can see it. This is my recipe for chow mein noodles. And we're going to talk a little bit about this last ingredient right here. Because other than that, it's pretty much a standard pasta. So people, actually, if they're watching, they can pause later. I know this is really low tech, isn't it? But anyway, it's what I got. So let's talk about the ingredients here. First of all, the first ingredient, unlike like an Italian pasta noodle, we're using a high gluten flour here. That gives the noodles the chew that you want, as well as the last ingredient, which we'll get to in a second. I don't normally put salt in my Italian noodles. However, thank you, Serena. I don't normally put salt in my pasta noodles, but I do in my chow mein noodles. 3 large eggs, pretty straightforward. An extra large egg is like 5 grams more than a large. Try and use large eggs. I know large eggs work really well for this recipe. If you go up to an extra large, maybe do 45 milliliters of water. But, thanks guys. Anyway, so lye water. What is lye water? What is this thing here at the end? Or canned sweet even? Like, oh my god. Okay, so Asian noodles, chow mein noodles have an alkaline component. It gives them a little more spring, a little more bounce, and a little more chew. There's 2 ways to do it. You can use lye water, which is this stuff right here, which you can get, thanks. You can get this, I mean, you can get lye water now anyway. This is in the Asian section of your supermarket probably. Really easy to get. If you don't have this and you still want to make the noodles, you can. Without going super scientific, is you can take regular old baking soda, spread it in a sheet pan, one of these guys, and put it in the oven at 200 for about an hour. That changes the chemical composition of it into a much more alkaline compound. And instead of a teaspoon of this, just use a teaspoon of your canned sweet, which is literally baked baking soda. Doesn't matter how you do it. Also, if you're doing ramen noodles, an essential ingredient in ramen noodles. So I want to show you guys the pasta maker here. You can roll these noodles out and cut them by hand, like soba noodles. I've done that. Honestly, though, I would get a pasta machine. If you guys don't have one for the KitchenAid, which is what I use right here, get the Italian hand crank one. They're so handy for making noodles. It's so nice to use. I think I'm going to leave it on this cam. So you take these ingredients and you mix them up in a bowl, and you knead them for about 8 or 9 minutes. You can't knead it in the KitchenAid, it won't work. It will seem when you're first kneading that the noodles are extremely dry. Don't add water. You need these noodles to be, you need this to be a pretty low hydration dough. Stick with it. The flour will eventually start to absorb the eggs and the water, and eventually it'll turn after about 10 minutes. Oh dear. Oy, okay, so I probably deserve that. I'm not quite sure why, but I probably do. In any case, stick with the dough. It won't want to come together. And that's the reason you can't use the KitchenAid to mix this dough, because if you put it in the KitchenAid with the dough hook, and you put in enough liquid that dough hook actually starts to work and pick up the... I didn't make the pun. She made the pun. Don't put this on me. Oh no, that's a free service. That's a free service. In any case, if you put enough liquid in your KitchenAid mixer for the dough hook to pick it up and start mixing it, it's too wet. Do it by hand. It's just as fast. It's kind of fun, kind of satisfying, and I'm going to show you right here. So you will eventually have dough that looks like this. So this is can't see. See this gloss here? This is when you can stop kneading your dough, when it's nice and smooth and glossy like this. So I'm just gonna run. I thought I'd show you guys like one run through the thing before we cut the noodles. I really hope these work, guys, or I'm really screwed for the rest of this episode. The KitchenAid stand mixer attachment, by the way, for like kneading the dough is amazing. You just make it narrow and narrower, and it does all the work for you. And this is it. You can go down to I like a chunkier chow mein noodle, so I'm going to go down to 4 on this. But if you like a thinner noodle or a more delicate noodle, you can go down to 5. I wouldn't go any lower than 5. Okay, so here's your sheet of pasta. Now we can't cut this right away because these need to dry. If I put this through the cutters right now, all the noodles would stick together, and I would get frustrated and ball it up into a big dough ball and throw it in the garbage. So this one I'm just going to put aside for now. The other ones I've had out drying on the rack for about an hour, and we're going to cut those ones, and hopefully they work. Hopefully you guys can see this. Okay, so this cutter here, you can see all those little cutters. This cuts. This is technically, I think, not a spaghetti. I forget the name of this guy, but it makes perfect ramen and chow mein noodles as well. We've got our sheet pan, which we are going to flour quite liberally because we don't want these guys to stick together. And I'm worried about the humidity. I know I've said it before. I really hope they don't stick. I will cry. Maybe even just flour them up a bit before we come through the cutter. All right, cross your fingers, guys. Well, we got good separation. I like that. And they aren't too sticky, so there you go. It's some nice fresh chow mein noodles, and I typically just leave them folded in half like that. They don't need flour yet. I'm going to flour them after. So remember, it is important to let these sit. You'll get the hang of it, and believe me, when you get it wrong, you will know, because your noodles will stick together and you will hate yourself. It's always a little tragic when that happens. Sorry about the squeaking. Okay, so there we go. Let me switch back to this camera, and there you go. There's our no. So you can make, first of all, you can make these in advance when you have the time. However, don't let fresh noodles stop you from making this dish. You can buy amazing chow mein noodles, both fresh and dried, in any Asian market, and they are just, there's nothing wrong with them. They're great. I like making noodles. I like making all kinds of noodles. So this is kind of my thing. It doesn't need to be your thing. This is really easy to do, and they taste amazing. There is something about a fresh egg noodle that makes it really nice. But as I said, if this is a 20-minute, get something on for the kids, I mean, you can take the noodles out of an instant ramen packet. It'll be fine. Just throw away the little radioactive packets of goo they put in them. Don't eat that. And I'm going to give this a little dusting of flour here. Don't want these guys to stick. So you can see here, like, I've had so many bad experiences with noodles sticking that I'm always extra cautious about that. Okay, so any questions on throwing together homemade pasta noodles or chow mein noodles? All right, I'm going to hydrate here. Oh. Okay, so the other recipe that I thought I'd share with you guys, and we need to make it, is the Blue Book sauce. No, there we go. Okay, so this is my go-to stir-fry, chow mein, whatever you want. This is my base. It is a 1/4 cup light soy, which I never have on hand. So in effect, it's 1/2 cup of soy. I still don't have any light soy, but if you can find it, use light soy. In fact, light soy, honestly, is actually a little more salty than regular soy. The only difference is the color, so your sauce is going to be really ducking back and forth here. Oyster sauce, everybody knows what that is. You get a 1/4 cup of Shaoxing wine with the Chinese cooking wine. And is it? Yeah, this is pretty basic, guys. 1/4 cup of cornstarch. The cornstarch, of course, is in there to thicken your sauce. A tablespoon of sugar. So, unlike most American recipes, this one isn't too sweet. You do want a tablespoon of sugar. And 2 teaspoons of white pepper. I will sometimes use up to a tablespoon or more of white pepper because I like a sauce with a bit of kick. But start with 2, see where you get to. So I'm going to hold that up for a second. Everybody screenshot or whatever. Come back to it, pause. That's my Blue Book sauce. And these are all over the internet. I really like this one. I haven't exactly fine-tuned it, but it's been my go-to for a long time. It's in the little Blue Book, which is here. So one of the things, it's very, very close. And if you like hoisin, use hoisin. I find if you're going to use hoisin, I would cut back maybe a little bit on the sugar. But if it tastes good to you, that's totally fine. So let's whip that up because we need it tonight. and this, as I said, this keeps in the fridge for weeks and weeks and weeks. You want to start with your cornstarch and your soy first. Where did my soy go? Oh, here we go. So, as I said, light soy if you have it. I don't. So we're going to just go half a cup of soy here. Switch cam. Yes, sorry. There we go. Okay, so on the soy cam, that's my cornstarch, by the way, which was, I think we said half a cup. Pretty sure we did. And we want to blend this. We've talked about cornstarch before. It's a thickening agent. Cornstarch always needs to be blended with something cold before you throw it in your sauce. So in this particular case, we're making it, I'm going to put it in later. But if I was going to make a slurry to thicken a sauce that was already in the wok, you can't just throw cornstarch in. It'll clump and do weird things. You got to dissolve it in a bit of cold water, and then you put that slurry in. Okay. We got our soy. What else is on here? Yes, half a cup of oyster sauce. I'm actually going to do the oyster sauce. Yeah, we'll do it now. It's fine. It's fine. I usually do this one towards the end because it's really goopy and it clogs up the measuring cup. This obviously makes a lot, by the way. But it's really good. I didn't get my sesame oil out. Where's my sesame oil? Okay. Where is my sesame oil? There we go. Okay. Next on the list is the Chinese wine. Quarter cup of the Chinese wine. This will thin out our measure a bit. If you ever, by the way, get a chance to get this stuff, if you're in a really tiny Asian market or you're in Chinatown, you can often find this without alcohol, or not without alcohol, without salt in it. Get that stuff. You have to be careful with this stuff. This is salted so that people don't drink it. Did I put plates in the oven? I didn't. I'm going to do that in a second. So the only legal stuff is salted, but lots of the small Chinese markets have unsalted. If you can get it, grab it. We got the corn flour. I got a tablespoon of sugar here somewhere. That's going to go in. 2 tablespoons of sesame oil. Ooh, 1 and a bit. Not quite 1. Very accurate measuring. That away. And well, we said white pepper, right? And I want 2 teaspoons of this. I can always add more for myself later. Come on. Okay. Hang on a sec. That was a lot. Okay, sorry. I just pepper sprayed myself. Oh. Oh dear. Okay. Alright, we're going to mix this up. And there you go. I would normally pour this in a mason jar and put it in the fridge for later, but we're going to use some of it tonight, so let's leave it out. Any questions on Blue Book sauce? I mean, I call it Blue Book sauce, but this recipe's all over the internet. But I particularly like this one. Okay. That's a really good drink, guys. I highly recommend you try these. Now, the first thing we're going to do is marinate a little bit of that chicken in something. Oh yeah, plates in the oven. Hang on. So I'm going to serve it in like sort of the traditional Chinese bowls here. Okay, but I do want to marinate the chicken in another bowl. You don't need a lot, like, and this isn't like a long marinating time. It's kind of just a coating. I figure that's probably what, a tablespoon, a little bit more. And that it only needs 10 minutes tops. And if you don't have time, you're really in a rush, you don't need to do it. Okay. All right, we are, well, it's 7:30. Okay, this is going okay. I'm going to turn my water on. So these noodles, and if you're preparing them from scratch or from a package, just follow the directions on the package. Go for the lower end of the cooking time. So if the package says put them in boiling water for 3 to 4 minutes, do 3. Because you are going to stir fry them. They are going to cook in the wok. What is this? Any ideas, anybody? Oh, I already measured out the white pepper. Won't be needing that. Okay, so everything happens sort of fast at this point. So if you have questions, jump in now. I'm going to turn the water on. And we're going to talk for a sec because I got ahead of myself here. Oh, there you go. See? I thought I measured it in advance. You're right. That's the pepper I had to level off. I don't really have a tip for this week. So we're not. Oh, you know what? We can talk a little bit about knife sharpening. I'm frying the noodles as well. Yes. So that's why you cook them al dente. Liz, got it right that time. Dente. Because you undercook them slightly in the water, and quite frankly, like sometimes with the chow mein noodles that you buy at the store, you just pour boiling water over them and let them sit for a minute or two. So you fry them until they're almost done, and then yes, they get fried up in the wok with everything else. I want to talk a little bit about knife sharpening. I sharpen my knives by hand, and I've been doing it a long time, and it takes a long time to learn how to sharpen a knife properly to get a good edge. However, there's a company out there called Chef's Choice, and I don't know if I can access their sharpener right here easily. Where did I put it? Yeah, I got it. I'll show you guys this. Because if you want super sharp kitchen knives, and you don't want to learn how, and I don't blame you, to be honest, if you don't want to learn how, you can get one of these dudes. I'm going to put it on the cam. No, this one. So, this is the smaller version. There's a slightly bigger one that has 3 slots. It doesn't matter why. If you're really interested, you can go find out. But this is the only electric sharpener I have ever used that actually works and does a good job with your knives. If you are maintaining your knives, you only ever have to use this one on the right here. And you just... it sets the angle for you. You don't have to do anything. You turn it on, and you just pull the knife like that. And you do this side, and you do that 6 times. And as long as you do that every once in a while, your knives are forever razor sharp. So that's my tip for the week. If sharpening knives by hand isn't for you, and you don't have a collection of ultra-fine Japanese Waterstones, and I don't blame you if you don't, these things are like $100. And I can't recommend them highly enough. So, okay. That's the tip. The chicken's still marinating. I'm still waiting on the water. Let's get set up, though, to do the rest of this stuff. I want about a quarter cup of water, too. Yeah, I can't recommend them highly enough. I think it's just a fantastic little tool. And I mean, honestly, I like to think that I can get a better edge, a slightly sharper edge, doing it by hand. But that just might be me and my pride. Okay. So, this is our wok. And we're back to food cam here. I'm still, by the way, working on the research for a proper food cam. I've got the One Good camera. went down a big camera rabbit hole the other day and came up thoroughly confused. But I want to have the noodles done and ready to go before I fire everything up. So we're just going to wait for a sec. By the way, so a chow mein typically isn't heavily sauced. A lo mein dish will be swimming in sauce. It's a different kind of dish. Chow mein is typically not heavily sauced. You'll see as we go. Still waiting on the water. By the way, I already have next week picked out. I had forgotten about one of the most basic of all Italian pasta recipes, and I have rediscovered it. Cacio e pepe, which is just pepper and cheese and pasta, and it's a fascinating technique. It's a fascinating dish. It tastes amazing. And so I'm going to do that next week because that dish is actually the base, and you'll see next week, for like 4 or 5 other related pasta dishes. So you learn the one dish and you get 5, and it's all the same technique, and it's a great technique to know how to do. And it's very, very flexible. So that's next week. Okay. You guys can't see this part. Oh, no, actually you can see it. It's right there. I'm going to switch to this camera. There you go. The pasta cam. So these are just going to go in. And 2 minutes tops. So I'm going to give these a stir. So I'm actually doing this in a smaller pot. So if I was doing like spaghetti noodles for an Italian pasta dish, I would be doing this differently. I would have a giant pot of salted water so that the water didn't come off the boil. And I know that I can cook the pasta properly. But in this particular case, I don't care that it came off the boil because I'm really just softening the noodles because I'm about to stir fry them anyway. So I can use a smaller pot, which is just easier to handle. They look amazing. I think I have conquered the humidity, or the lack of it, I guess. It's amazing that such a simple thing like that makes such a difference in your recipes. Or your methods, I guess. Oh, you just hear this boiling over. You can actually, well, you guys can't see it, but I can. You can actually see the extra springiness in the noodles as they're in the water from the canned sweet. These are completely unlike like an Italian spaghetti would be, which would be, except for the alkaline component, exactly the same recipe. Okay, I'm going to take them off now. I feel like these are done. Let me show you guys. I don't want to drip everywhere, but oh, hang on. There you go. These just look like absolutely amazing. I'm steaming up the camera, but I'm really, really happy with these. This just, it looks and feels like a chow mein noodle. So they're just going to sit there for a sec. Put them off to the side, and we are good to cook. Any questions before we fire this up? Because it happens pretty quick here. Yeah, no, I'm happy. Believe me, I'm happy with the humidity drop. I'm happy with the lack of mold. I'm sleeping better. My towel when I get out of the shower is less wet than I am for a change. It's all good. Another thing, I also discovered that, I don't know where you guys are, but Farm Boy now has, or maybe they always did, they have peanut oil, which is a great oil all around for frying. It's a little more expensive than canola and vegetable, obviously, but I find it's a great oil to fry with, so that is what I have switched over for my everyday frying oil. Okay, so the basic steps of this, which is going to happen fast, where's my thing, is going to be the garlic first, then the chicken, then the cabbage, carrot, and white scallions go in until they wilt. The noodles go in, then the sauce and a little bit of water, and at the very end, the sprouts and the green parts of the scallions will go in just until they soften, like just a little tiny bit. Ow. Okay, here's our garlic, and again, garlic is just still fragrant. What does that mean? When you can smell it. Which I actually can already. Woo. Damn, that's hot. So already you can see my garlic starting to change color, so that's really quick. Chicken. How loud is that for you guys? I have been considering, you can't see it here, I've got a condenser mic right here, which is great, but it's not directional, so it picks up not only my voice, but the sounds of the frying and the deep fryer and everything else. I've been considering switching to a shotgun mic, which I could mount behind the camera, which would just be focused on me and maybe not be quite as brutal for the frying noises. How is it? Somebody tell me how loud it is. Does it at least sound good? Fair enough. So by the way, I'm using dark meat here. This is thigh meat because I happen to have it on hand. You can use any part of the chicken. I find that for stir frying, dark meat is a lot more forgiving. It stays juicier longer, and it's tastier a little bit. So I wouldn't use chicken breast here unless it was the only thing I had in the freezer, the fridge. Not quite done, but almost there. Okay, and I can sit for 2 seconds while I have my cocktail. Okay, so next, cabbage, carrots, the white parts of the scallions. And this will just be like a couple of minutes. You'll be able to tell right away because the cabbage will wilt quite quickly. Also, it appears like I'm going to be making enough for an army. Yeah, I know. I thought it. Well, I'm feeding 2 plus leftovers, I guess. This does cook down, right? Like you'll see as the cabbage starts to wilt, it will get smaller. Already, you can see like the volume of the pot. Remember, it was like when I first started, it was packed. The pot. This is almost done. It's not quite. Whew. Kind of a workout. Okay. Now I feel that the cabbage is wilted down to the point where I want it. It's noodle time. And to help these noodles along, we're going to add probably a third of a cup of the sauce. Maybe a little more. A little bit of water. This will just like loosen up the noodles. God, it smells so good. Really, I can't tell you how happy I am with these noodles. They're behaving like exactly the way I want them to. A little aggressive on the stir frying technique there. Okay, and then finally, at the very end, the green parts of the scallions go in. We got our, the hell are those called? Bean sprouts. And this, they just go in. Bean sprouts wilt really fast, so you want to move quick here, get them mixed in. Does anybody want to come for dinner? Okay, I feel like that's heated all the way through. I'm going to give that just a sec. What am I going to do here? Push this back for a sec. Chopsticks. Plates are in the oven. Let's serve this up and give it a taste. Ooh, the plates are hot. Wow. Okay, first one goes to Serena in the other room. Come on. Get some chicken in with that. A couple scallions on top. I'll show you guys mine in a second. Just let me deliver this real quick. Okay, that was very strange. The lag is quite something. I went into the office to serve Serena, and I look at her screen, and I'm still serving her dish. It was very like I walked onto the set of Inception or The Matrix or something. Glitch in the Matrix. Okay, there's a nice bit of chicken for me. Get some green stuff. I like some green stuff and some sprouts. Okay, let me move this over here. Get this out of the way. I've made a mess here. That's okay. And I just bring this up since we're here, that when I'm not cooking on stream, obviously, like, I'm cleaning everything as I go so that I don't have a huge mess at the end. I'll clean my dishes like as soon as I can. Okay, you guys can see okay? So let me cannot hold it up with my hands to the food camera. I want to see what it looks like. I want to get this up to the other camera. So I'm going to switch here. So you guys can see, like, there we go. See, isn't the color so much better? Anyway, there you go, guys. That's chicken chow mein. I'm going to taste this. Start with a bit of chicken. Wow. Okay. Those are really good. Noodles have great too. Okay, these are the best chow mein noodles I have ever made. Excuse me. This is so fresh and bright tasting, guys. Darcy and Emma, are you guys home? Do you want some? I have so much food down here. Yeah, Serena's on it. Wow. It is so good. I don't know what to say. Like, I just really happy with this turned out. It's amazing, bright flavors. Everything's fresh. The noodles are so great. Okay, I'll stop for a sec. I'm going to answer some questions here. I want to put this on pink. Actually, you know what? Let's pop in the oven. Give me a sec to keep this warm. Okay. So, here we go. Any questions, guys? Oh yeah, Darcy, that's Janice. We can use each other's real names now. It's so awesome. Okay. All right, guys. Super happy with this. Just wow. It's really good. Really happy. I think, and also, it's not even, guys, it's only 7:45. This is one of the fastest dishes we've ever done. And we even, like, spent time cutting noodles and making sauce that would be, this stuff would be in your fridge already. You can throw this together, like, in no time at all. I mean, even the chow mein noodles you can make in advance. But you don't have to. You can get fresh or dry chow mein noodles from your grocery store, and this would be just as good. All right. It's a short stream tonight, guys, because this is a fast dish, a classic dish. I'm going to hang around for just a couple minutes. The noodles take, sorry, Paul, the noodles take, depending on fresh versus dry, anywhere from 2 to 4 minutes in boiling water, and then drain them, and then you can set them aside till you're ready to use them. Now, if you're making them from scratch, it takes a little bit longer. Okay, guys. Well, there's no more questions, and I know there's a big delay, so I'm going to wait here for just like another couple minutes. If you have any questions, I'll answer them. Otherwise, I'm going to sign off and finish my chow mein. And that's kind of it. Super happy with the way it turned out. Thank you all for joining me. As I said, I love doing this for you guys, and I'm really... the pasta attachment's a couple $100. If you keep your eyes on the Canadian Tire catalog, or the flyer rather, sometimes it goes on sale for like 10 or 15% off, but that's about it. But it's totally worth it. It comes with the flat roller and a spaghetti cutter and a fettuccine cutter, which honestly are like the only cutters you would ever need unless you were like hardcore Italian. It basically gives you a thin noodle and a thick noodle. I'm making this every day for a week. Okay, guys, I am signing off. Again, thanks for joining me. Tune in for next week. I think next week is going to be a lot of fun, a lot of exploration, and some amazing food. So I haven't picked a cocktail, so if you guys have any ideas, hardcore Italian. In any case, have a great night, and I'll see you next week. So thanks for joining me, guys.